Salt Bae is still a thing? Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome. We appreciate you all checking out the video. So today we got a crazy one that just dropped. Sunny V2, who is I would call him a YouTube documentarian. I guess we can call him that. Goes into the collapse of Salt Bae. And for those of you who don't know who Salt Bae is, he's the guy who, I think he's Turkish or from Turkey or somewhere in that region. He's the guy who does like the salt thing where like he drops the salt on the steak and all that stuff off of his arm. He became like, you know, social media famous for that very reason. Yeah, I guess he's kind of like fallen off the face of the earth. So, or he's going through some troubles right now. He apparently hit a peak of popularity and now he's starting to decline. And there's been a lot of different allegations against him and his companies and his restaurants. You know, he's apparently, allegedly, according to the Sunny V2 documentary that we're going to get into in just a second, guy is completely full of himself, you know, and that's part of the problem. So without further ado, we're going to get into this and react to this and, you know, see what's going on here.
Restaurant closures, rapidly declining reviews, and his lowest growth on Instagram in over 6 years. Things have gone from bad to worse for Salt Bae, which is best observed by looking at each controversy up until this unfavorable point. His first time in hot water came just months after Salt Bae first went viral, occurring when fans scrolled back through his Instagram to find this photo.
That's clearly not good. Anybody who supports Fidel Castro should, you know,
commemorating the life of Fidel Castro in the days after his death. At around the same time, Salt Bae had recently opened a steakhouse in Miami, a city to which approximately 500,000 Cubans had fled to as a result of Castro's leadership. Some people just
on boats, life rafts, like who would in their right mind support Fidel Castro?
Don't think. To post pics like this and then open a restaurant in Miami. Really? I just called and cancelled 2 reservations and told them how I feel about their salt guy and his post. Picture posted a few days after Castro's death. Nice thought, WTF. He should open in Cuba and sprinkle his salt over there. Yeah. The comments on the
he's sure a capitalist, right? Opening up restaurants in the United States and all over the world. He's sure taking capitalism seriously, but supports a ruthless dictator like Fidel Castro.
Post itself echoed a similar sentiment, leading Salt Bae to remove the picture. However, he'd find himself in a similar controversy less than a year later. In September 2018, Salt Bae came under scrutiny once again for providing a feast to the Venezuelan president, who governs a country in which 64% of people have reported losing significant amounts of weight, 11 kilos or 24 pounds.
So this guy, Salt Bae, seems like a real character. We'll continue.
On average, amid worsening food shortages. As a Venezuelan, it angers me seeing my president feasting on a meal while me and my family were starving. I cannot believe this.
And the funny thing is, Venezuela is such an oil-rich country too. And the fact that the people in Venezuela are suffering under this brutal dictator Maduro, well, I don't know if he's still the dictator there or not, but he could be. I don't know. I'll double check that. But still, not important. The important thing is Salt Bae is seen, you know, not working with, but interacting and, you know, in relations with Maduro.
His video. This guy eating tomahawk steaks or whatever that is, and the people from his country dying of hunger. Food tastes so much better when you know the folks back home are starving. After the Venezuelan president then explained that Salt Bae had personally invited him to the restaurant, protests broke out in front of Salt Bae's Miami restaurant, with one sign reading, "Did you know, Salt Bae, that in the time it took you to wine and dine dictator Maduro with your bloody meat, at least one Venezuelan child died of extreme malnutrition." However, this might not have even been Salt Bae's biggest controversy for the month. Only 8 days after these protests, a new article was posted reading, 4 tourists are set on fire at Instagram star Salt Bae's Istanbul restaurant, which had...
this guy gives like zero fucks is basically what it comes down to. This guy doesn't care as long as it's getting him some sort of like attention. He will do anything for that attention.
Happened as a result of a fire show gone wrong. One of the
no
tourists
morals.
who'd been set on fire was a Czechoslovakian YouTuber and model named Tinus Tresnikova, who suffered burns to more than 35% of her body and can be seen with slight but visible burn scars on her
you can see on her
Instagram
neck.
even till this day.
Yeah, like
her
right in there, her
23-minute
neck.
video on the topic, translating to "the moment that changed my life," is unfortunately spoken in Czechoslovakian without subtitles.
Oh, look at her
However, an
face.
article posted a year after the incident stated that Tinus had received no compensation for the mistake and that the restaurant had instead destroyed all evidence related to the incident. Salt Bae did eventually pay out $230,000 in compensation, although not to Tinus for permanently altering her appearance, but rather to 4 mistreated employees in Salt Bae's next big controversy. The 4 employees claimed that Salt Bae was taking 3% from
wrong
their
with this
total
guy?
tips, which was followed by Salt Bae firing the 4 employees after.
So this guy just seems like he's a complete asshole. Is really just the gist of it. Takes no accountability for anything and likes being seen with world leaders, not realizing that the people that he's either A, posting on his Instagram page or Twitter page and interacting with in person are brutal fucking dictators. So we shall continue.
After being confronted about it. As a result, the employees launched a wrongful termination lawsuit, explaining that their former boss had an authoritarian, dictatorial attitude who doesn't care about.
There we go. So he takes his. So he's taken a page out of the playbook of Castro and Maduro. So all right. So it's all coming together now.
Local laws. They even suggested Salt Bae likened himself to Tony Montana and humiliated them on occasions in the lawsuit. Yet Salt Bae responded by stating, "I don't get a share of the employees' tips. I've never done that in any of my restaurants. I was not satisfied with the performance of the 4 employees. They didn't match my understanding of work. They weren't as good as I wanted, so I terminated their contract right away." Yet these 4 employees weren't the only ones claiming that they'd been mistreated while working for Salt Bae. A former employee at the Mistreatment restaurant in London described it as gold from the outside but shit from the inside, whilst another compared the working environment to the Hunger Games, as staff never knew if they'd be fired during a shift, with a third likening the restaurateur to a dictator.
It's a horrible
Former
place to
employee
work.
Frank Tefano stated that he was treated poorly as a result of being American, while another former manager explained his world was nothing but Instagram and fame. The sensation was him. He ended up getting this godlike complex, highlighting Salt Bae's next big problem. With massive artworks of his one viral moment, and every third Instagram picture being him working out shirtless, it seems Salt Bae is just a bit too full of himself.
He's an
While
attention
some
seeker.
degree of ego might be necessary for success, he takes it
He's
to
a fucking
whole new
clown,
level.
is what he is.
When interviewed by The Times in 2019, Salt Bae seemed convinced that every kid wanted to be him, stating,
Maybe
"Now
as a
everybody
child.
wants to be a butcher because
Maybe as a child he was no one really paid attention to him. So now he's got some fame and now he'll do whatever he can to keep it.
of me." Now, if you ask a kid, they want to be Salt Bae. They see me as an
I've never seen a person or a kid met a kid who wanted to be Salt Bae, for the record. Now, I am just one person, not to say that there aren't people out there who actually follow this guy on a regular basis, but never in my life have I seen a kid, an adult, or anyone say, when I grow up, I want to be just like Salt Bae. No.
idol.
So you can see how egotistical this guy is.
I'm an inspiration to a lot of people in a very short period of time, also always taking the opportunity to brag about money. Salt Bae had posted an $8,000 bill as well as a different
Trying to
$47,000
flex.
bill, yet the picture that really kicked up a stink was the $167,000 bill posted to Salt Bae's Instagram with the title "Quality Never Expensive." The opulent bill mixed with his arrogant description prompted comments such as, "I have eaten in your restaurant, quality is questionable, and I've eaten there, the food was not
Yeah, I've eaten at your restaurant. Guess what? It's dog shit.
good," with this sentiment being echoed by countless different people. YouTube channel Google Foods ordered the $2,000 steak
So you basically go to this guy's restaurant because you've seen him and he's become social media famous. Yet the quality of the food is dog shit. And you think people will just come and buy your food because of just that.
before stating this.
It was not what we expected. For $2,000, I gotta say, I thought it would be way bigger.
Also adding that the $270
$2,000 for a fucking steak.
$5 tomahawk steak had been cooked incorrectly.
That was rare even though we ordered medium rare. Now there's nothing wrong with rare steak, but if you order medium rare, you should get what you paid for.
Right.
A different
Pay
YouTuber
$2,000 for a fucking
who was
steak.
looking to give a purely objective
better get
review,
exactly what you
stated that
asked
the
for.
waiter's performance was fun, yet the quality of the food was no better than any other steakhouse. On TripAdvisor, Salt Bae's London restaurant is ranked at 15,200 out of 15,700 restaurants, with its rating of 2.5 stars, making it worse than 96.8% of all other restaurants in the city. The steakhouse features predominantly terrible and one-star reviews, with most complaining about horrible quality, bad service, and so incredibly expensive for.
And the people I bet he's trying to mostly attract are celebrities or people of influence. Those people aren't going on Yelp and putting a fucking Yelp review.
Such a bad quality of food. This guy was upset after the restaurant charged him 44 British pounds for 4 red.
Hey Maduro, can you do me a solid? Can you just go ahead and throw a Yelp review up to help the business?
However,
funny.
at least he didn't call the police after finding out the price, which is what happened over in Florida. Whilst eating at Salt Bae Steakhouse in Miami, Dwayne Miranda ordered 2 standard $275 tomahawk steaks, yet he was instead unknowingly presented with 2 golden tomahawk steaks, being charged more than $5,000 for his meal when he eventually got to the counter.
God
We
damn.
ordered 2 tomahawk steaks and a rack of lamb for the table. When the bill came, we were shocked by the total. They insisted that we ordered the golden option and charged us $1,000 for each. We absolutely did not order that option, although we did eat what was brought to the table thinking this was the normal.
Now that's stupid. Like, if you order something and you know that's not what you ordered, you're going to call the waiter or waitress over and say, hey, I didn't order this. Especially if it's fucking wrapped in gold. Like, use your noggin, Dwayne Miranda.
present
Hey, they gave us a gold steak. We're just going to eat it, and then we're not going to pay for it. That's stupid. That is dumb.
For our order. It was clear that the waiter was trying to take advantage of the situation.
I'm sure they were. But again, as a paying customer, you still have an obligation. If you were given the wrong meal or not the right item, you need to call somebody over to make them aware. You can't just go ahead and say, oh, they made a mistake.
After disputing the misunderstanding with management, they decided to involve local law enforcement rather than do the right thing. We paid the disputed $5,000 bill to avoid further conflict, yet this was still minor in comparison to what happened at Salt Bae Steakhouse in Boston. After opening up on the 18th of September 2020, the restaurant, quote, almost immediately began racking up health code violations. City inspectors reported that COVID-19 safety guidelines were being flouted, crowds were not
So not only is the food dog shit, but the actual restaurants are dog shit.
social distancing, 2 fire exits were blocked, permits were not in order, the dishwasher was not running hot enough, and the refrigerators were apparently too cold, leading the government to shut the restaurant down only 1 week after opening.
Wow.
In the meantime, Salt Bae posted this seemingly wholesome family photo to his Instagram, yet this would also end in another wave of criticism. Turkey chef Salt Bae meets mother after 2 years, criticized for not looking after her. It seems Salt Bae was getting loads of backlash in every situation, regardless of whether or not he deserved.
So after 2 years, he doesn't see his mother for 2 years. I'm confused by that one. Maybe he hasn't seen her for 2 years, didn't really care about her or didn't interact with her. Maybe she was struggling and he was off getting famous and becoming rich. I don't know. It's possible. I don't know enough about that. But if that is the case and mom was struggling and he's off getting rich and he doesn't help his mom, then he sounds like a sketchy dude. But again, we don't know the whole story, so
it. For example, when a waiter at one of his restaurants accidentally dropped a steak, Salt Bae was getting roasted in the comments by people saying that he was going to charge them twice. People simply didn't like him, so when he'd actually do something deplorable in December 2022, the whole world took it as a chance to completely and utterly destroy him. After Argentina beat France in the World Cup final, Salt Bae waltzed onto the field as if he was everybody's best friend. He pestered Messi
Like
for a
nobody
photo,
wants anything to do
snatched
with
the
him.
World Cup from a baby, and bit down on one of the winner's medals,
What
probably
a piece of
negative
shit,
comment
fucking disgracing the medals like that.
negative comment, as well as an instant response from the media who wrote, Salt Bae was pathetically thirsty to get World Cup selfies and pissed off Argentina in the process. Only a day later, the FIFA president unfollowed Salt Bae on Instagram before launching an investigation into how Salt Bae was allowed on the field, revealing that only the World Cup winners and heads of state are allowed to touch the trophy during the closing ceremony, let alone kiss and disrespect it. The next day, Salt Bae tried to show that he and Messi were friends by posting a video of them together in his steakhouse. However, comments such as old video where Messi made a mistake visiting your restaurant showed that fans definitely weren't buying it. Excluding this video, Salt Bae provided no response to his World Cup behavior until...
By the way, so those of you who don't know, I live in Florida, South Florida, and Messi just joined the Inter Miami team, and they've got, I think, 2 or 3 wins now that he's been with the team. So, Messi, we're happy to have you, buddy.
Just 1 month ago, when he'd finally talk about the event in a tell-all interview. He stated, "It was a combination of my love of Argentina and my excitement. I love Argentina, I've lived there. I went to support them. Many of the team have come to the restaurant. I didn't feel a stranger, it was a special moment. I can't do anything about the reason I was there, but I would never ever step on the World Cup pitch again. There were 2 billion people watching the World Cup. How many people are speaking about me? 5 billion, the whole world."
Which is probably what you wanted. That's exactly what you wanted. That's why. Because you weren't supposed to be there, so you got the attention now, so everyone's talking about you.
I didn't go on the pitch with the purpose of advertising.
Lie.
I just felt like it. Then there was a bit of a surprise.
Come
there were
on,
at least
dude.
another
We
1,000
don't believe
people on
that.
the pitch, but when they show the video, they make out it was just me. I never ever wanted to overshadow anything. I didn't like the attention, with the possible motive for the explanation being that things haven't been going so well for Salt Bae ever since that day. Just 2 weeks prior to giving that interview, Salt Bae had to close down his self-titled Salt Bae burger restaurant in New York City, which had gained a reputation for selling $99 gold-flaked milkshakes and a $100 burger wrapped in gold foil. On top of this, it's been reported that Salt Bae Steakhouse in Greece is now receiving a third of the bookings it used to, from 600 per day to approximately 200 per day.
Good. Who
while
the
his
hell would
London
support this guy?
Steakhouse, which
He
we
sounds like a
discussed
fucking
earlier
idiot.
as having some of the worst reviews in the city, recently announced that they'd be reducing their prices in, quote, what appears to be a desperate bid to entice customers back through its doors. Over the last 6 months, Salt Bae has gained approximately 300,000 followers per month, and while this is still a bafflingly high number for someone who seemingly does very little, this is the lowest growth he's had on social media since first blowing up in January 2017.
Wow. All right. So, anyway, all right. So, there's a lot to unpack. But the main takeaway is this guy Salt Bae sounds like he's an attention seeker. You know, and now that he's got fame and fortune, he thinks that he can just do simply whatever he wants. He treats people negatively. He walks on the field after Argentina wins the World Cup thinking it's okay when it clearly wasn't. Then disrespects the medals, treats his employees like crap. Doesn't care that a model got burned up and got, 3rd-degree burns or 1st-degree burns all, over 30% of her body. Doesn't care. So, I mean, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, right? Good. People see you for what you are now. Hence the reason why your restaurants are starting to close. People see that you're just an asshole, quite frankly. But anyway, want to know what you all think. Let us know down below. If you like this content and you want to see more of it, please consider subscribing. We appreciate it. And we will see you all in the next one.